Redditors who live in Wyoming. Why? Roads are too iced over to escape. The wind keeps blowing my wagon over. Ezekiel has cholera. Again. Send salt pork. I lived there for 7 years. The lack of people made it the most relaxing period of my life. I'm here going on 5. World-class skiing, fishing, hunting, hiking. A bike path that goes through Grand Teton NP. Yellowstone. Wind River Range. Shish. I've hiked probably 500 miles here and have nowhere close to seeing it all. Did a hike this summer none of my friends have ever heard of, 45 minutes from my house. Got to end and it reminded me of Yosemite. In July. Saw no one. No income tax. Traveling west, the first red light is about 20 miles. North. IDK 150 miles. South 75 and east IDK. Until you spend time here it's hard to realize how sparse it is. More like Alaska than the lower 48. Teachers here love their job and want to do it. This is not the case in my previous East Coast town. I have kids, this is important to me. I wore bear spray into a county building the other day to vote. No one cared. Winters are harsh and long. It keeps a lot of people out. But you learn it's beautiful and embrace it. I've experienced 36 asterisk. I could list more lol, but these are the more important ones. What jobs are available there? I visited this summer and it was the most beautiful state I've ever been to. Edit. I woke up today to 35 messages and thought, oh great, WTF stupid thing did I say last night? I am getting yelled at for. Glad it was this lol. I live in Jackson Hole. You show up and have 10 jobs in the tourist industry. We're very different from the rest of the state. The joke is Jackson, 50 miles from the real Wyoming. The cost of living here is extremely high. Median house price is $1.5 million. So to really live here long-term you have to solve the housing problem first. Lots of real estate agents and telecommuters. Many retired wealthy people. Otherwise you're in some government backbone kind of job. My parents left me here. I mean, you are a moose, so. Fear of escalators. The entire state has 2 sets. Both are in the same city. Greater than fear of escalators. The entire state has 2 sets. Both are in the same city. So you are clearly taking steps to avoid them. Career paths to consider when I move to Wyoming. 1. Ski instructor. 2. Traffic light inspector. 3. Oil rig worker. 4. Escalator repairman. 5. Hotel manager. Less than sigh greater than. All 4 people have replied. This thread is now exhausted. Bold of you to assume that more than 3 people live in Wyoming. Wide, open, spaces. Some people like to not live near other people. I was going to say that that's why I live in Finland. But it looks like Wyoming has a speed by quite a bit. The population density in Finland is 47 people per square mile. In Wyoming, it's 6 people per square mile. I've got family out there and when I was young I looked forward to those trips. I would run off into a field so fast I forgot my legs were under me, burn a U-turn and come back to the house covered in grass stains and dirt. Just doing what little kids do with absolute freedom, monsieur. Beautiful landscape from the Teton Mountains to the Snake River. I'd like to go back there sometime soon. I'm reading all these comments. Sitting here in Idaho, not Boise, thinking to myself, shit, they're giving all the same reasons I live in Idaho. I'll tell you what it is. And this is from a man who travels extensively to major cities all over the world. I don't have to wait for anything, ever. New blockbuster coming out? I get tickets at the counter for the 7 p.m. showing on premiere day. I've literally never waited for gas or at a drive-through restaurant. If there's more than 2 people in the checkout line they open another lane. There's no traffic. The people are nice, helpful and friendly, and $50K per year means you can own a house and car with extra to spend. There's not a million stores or entertainment like a Dave & Buster's or an NBA team, but Salt Lake is literally only 2 hours away and they have all that shit. Lots of stuff people waste their money on. I've lived in Idaho my whole life due to the recent influx of people. I am currently looking at moving to Wyoming. Yes, I recognize the irony and I'm sorry in advance. Wyoming. I don't live there, but I did spend a couple of months there once. It's a gorgeous state. I mean, Yellowstone alone is enough of a reason. But even besides that, it's breathtaking. There aren't a ton of people, which is great, and the people that are there are nice. I could go on, but I think you get the point. I don't live there, but I'm considering moving there. Teachers get paid more and are overall treated better and cost of living is lower. I live in Alaska and my best friend moved to Wyoming. She said it's the best parts of Alaska without all the fucking people. I gotta admit, that tempted me. Removed. The Tetons are my favorite over Yellowstone. Yellowstone was amazing, but it was also odd being up there on that dormant supervolcano. Just has a strange feel to it for me. Did not help that I read the book about the deaths on Yellowstone while I was on vacation there. Though, why wouldn't you? Got offered a job here when I know but out of Central Cali. Work in Teton. Life surrounded by mountains and forest. Commute is like 60 miles. But there's the stoplights in that entire span. And I've never sat at any of them longer than 30 seconds. I have no desire to live anywhere else now. Asterisk edit, update asterisk holy crap. This blew up. It's 60 miles each way. Through a forest. There is a commuter bus. That ranges from $50 minus 100 mo. Depending on your employer. I usually ride the bus. Sleep in the morning. On the way home I either nap, read a book, or watch a movie. The only downside is, there's no cell service through the canyon. So you have to download everything ahead of time. Greater than commute is like 60 miles. That'd be a hard pass. Thanks but no. Top priority for me is minimizing commute distance and commute time. I cannot fathom being comfortable burning that much gas and that much time just to go to work. Like, how do you square that? I can't talk about this guy's commute, but I did around 60 miles from Wasilla to Anchorage for a bit and used to commute from Jackson Hole to Pinedale way every couple weeks. Commute is a lot nicer when you have National Park Forest as a backdrop. And in a Civic that's a tank and a half a week. It was 15 miles to a grocery store or anything else. If you plan your errands and social events so that you hit it on your way home, it helps offset that sunk cost. Saves a 30-mile round trip 3 to 4 times a week. Throw on an audiobook or call your family and it blows by. Now my commute is 1.5 miles and about 12 minutes on a bike or $2.50 a day for the bus. It's nice, but I see more crackheads than glaciers. Burning 2 hours of my life every day commuting sounds like just about the worst thing I could do. It's like turning 8 hours of work into 10. Lived in Wyoming a couple years. Plan to move back. For starters, it's one of the safest states. It's also one of the cleanest states. No one's keen to stir a fuss assuming you encounter anyone. And generally life is just nice their way. Peaceful. Cost of living is also easily doable on $40 to $45K a year. Far below what a lot of states require. Your $800 apartment? Wyoming edition. $200, maybe up to $400 after utilities. How long ago did you live there? One of the most beautiful places in the country. And low populations, that's an outdoor enthusiasts and introverts wet tray monsieur and skiing and snowboarding. Greater than introverts wet dream. How's the internet though? I'm in IT. I need people that 1. Have computers and 2. Don't know how to use them very well. I assume it's about on par with everywhere else. I'm a born and raised Montana native and a CS student and can confidently say this area has plenty of people with computers, and most of them would have no idea how to build a network. Removed. Casper is our second largest city. Edit. Oh damn it. I see what you did there. Have your damn upvote of ghosts. Was it a friendly ghost town? Friendly ghost town full of meth heads. It's cheaper than Granville and Grand Rapids but just as convenient. Lol, I think they mean the state of Wyoming, not the city, fellow Michigander. LMAO, take this upvote and ope the fuck outta here. Don't even live in the US, but from the pictures online, it'd say because it's insanely beautiful. ITT, Wyoming is the best state in the US, and the real question is why other people don't live there. It's actually not. People think it looks like Yellowstone everywhere. But in fact the vast majority of the state is flat high desert wasteland. And areas like Riverton, Casper, and Gillette are cultural cesspools. The cost of living is insanely high for what you get. There should be no reason for land and real estate to be as expensive as it is. I lived there for almost 5 years and there's definitely a reason why the whole state has 500k people. Missed a great pun here, greater than Redditors who live in Wyoming. Way? Yup, that's what I get for making this at midnight half asleep. 1 hour north here. Shit's nice, yo. Clean air, clean water, very little crime. Than Canada, but unwilling to adopt the fucking metric system, monsieur. Wasn't Brokeback Mountain in Wyoming. Sometimes a cowboy's just gotta follow his heart. Or the tightest hole. Whichever is best. Native American here. Arapaho to be exact. I live on the reservation. My peoples were forced here a long time ago in a government relocation thing. Anyway, it's home. I love it. People are okay. For the most part there's not many people around to bother me. My mom lives in Wyoming, so I'm going to seriously answer this question for you. I live in California and the yeehawing out here just really isn't enough, so when you go to Wyoming, like say Cheyenne, you get that yeehaw feeling, and when you need to be a city boy again like me, you just go to Denver or shop in Loveland. Best of both worlds. Cheyenne is where you went when you were a student in Boulder and forgot to buy your kegs on Saturday. They used to not sell anything other than the 3.2% beer on Sunday back then. I think the laws have changed now. But I remember how viciously the liquor stores in Colorado would ask for ID, and when we got to Cheyenne, the dude was like, "You Boulder kids? Huh, 3 kegs. No problem there, guys. No ID and no questions." It's also where you go to get fireworks. If I had $20 million, I'd live in Jackson Hole a month a year. Because a university education here is very cheap or even free in some cases. Why not? Not living in Wyoming. Mine it. Sorry, can't help myself. Grew up Indian is a thing. Wyoming Redditor of almost 9 years here. I have no fucking clue why we moved here. My parents did it when I was about 10. Random choice. However, the people that choose to live here do it because it's red, empty, nature, and there's no tax on food, or tax on income, and they get as many guns as they want. Wyoming is never a place I'd ever have considered living in, but my desire to is skyrocketing. Hell, I want to move there. I just don't know if I could get a job. This right here. Looked into it a couple months ago. No one's hiring for the field I'm in. I imagine turnover rates are low for many jobs. Escalator phobia for some, I imagine. I love Wyoming. The only place for introverts. People aren't stabbing each other over chicken sandwiches. I'm not from the US, so no idea what the joke is here. But a quick Google pic search shows that this state is beautiful as fuck. Why wouldn't you want to live there? The winters can be brutally cold and the wind blows hard year-round. If you drive through on I-80 or I-25, you don't see much more than prairie and sagebrush. This deters a lot of people. Much of the beauty is tucked away and you'll miss it if you are just passing through. Which is why people think the whole state is desolate. If you don't enjoy the outdoors, it's not for you. If you want to be surrounded by tons of people, it's not for you. If you like your space, small towns where everyone waves and says hello, and all the room you could need to enjoy the outdoors, it's the perfect place. But for the love of God, Don't move here and try to change it to where you came from, monsieur. Because there's like an eighth of a person per square mile. And there are like 20 cows for every person in the state. Some people like that, but most would rather live in the company of other people. As a truck driver, I've driven through it a few times, and yeah, it's desolate as fuck. It's also mostly sagebrush, but honestly, if my whole family and every friend I have didn't live on the East Coast, I'd move to where ID or MT in a heartbeat. I love it there. There's some really charming small towns there, and that's how I've liked to live. If I lived there, I'd definitely spend more time outdoors. I'd probably hunt more often too. I don't go often because it's such a hassle to find land that isn't hunted out, public land to hunt on, unless you pay $1,000 plus a year in club dues. A small portion of the state is conventionally beautiful in that mountains, rivers, forest kind of way. And the locus of that scenery, Jackson Hole, is prohibitively expensive for most people. Most of the state is treeless plains suited for ranching or wind farms, scrubby rocky land that goes on for hours and hours and hours. Some might call that vast desolation beautiful, but it takes a particular kind of person to do so. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.